Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tales from the Fireplace. First and foremost, we apologise for the vast quantity of scamming madness that appears to be happening tonight. Mrs. Deathly is working ferociously over in the corner to ensure that they are blocked and reported and taken out into a field and shot in the back of the head, which seems truly like the only proportionate response that we can manage. Well, you know. The most important thing, of course, is just don't click on any links. Don't be lured elsewhere, as it were.
I don't know why you would. I don't know what they think they're going to achieve by posting in the thing you're already watching. No,
it's strange, isn't it? Because you're already here watching it, so you don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to click on anything else. You are here, and everything is fine. They normally calm down after a little while, so hopefully before the night is through, they will not be with us any longer. We have some new people with us tonight, which is very lovely. Just those of you wondering who we are, here is the two of us. There's Mrs. Deathly working hard.
Which one?
Which one do you look at?
Which camera?
You're in the little one. The one there is to you.
Hello.
The one is to you.
It's me.
Mrs. Deathly, they're working very hard in the corner. You can report them, of course, if you want to, but the truth is, it doesn't seem to do anything, unfortunately.
Only I have the power to delete
Facebook
and ban.
are very aware, aren't they? They're very aware of the horrors of the scammers. Unfortunately, they just choose not really to do anything about it. How are we all this evening? How are we all? How are you, Mrs. Deathly?
I'm really good, thanks.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Nestled away in my little corner here.
Here you are.
Although, can I just tell everybody,
Yes.
I'm really annoyed because I have to wear headphones so I can hear what's going on, but what I really want to have on my head at the moment is this.
Go on. Sure, you're magnificent. There it is. She's found a bowler hat that fits
Look
her.
at that.
Spooky
smells
old
like
bowler hat.
a grandparent's attic. Much like these headphones. In fact, it might just be the headphones that I can smell.
I think it is the headphones. They do
But
have a
how
certain
cool is that?
vintage odour around them, don't they, for certain? So those of you who are here for the first time tonight, welcome. A pleasure to have you with us. If you don't know what this is Tales from the Fireplace. As you can see, I'm in a fireplace. It's a legit fireplace. I'm in the basement of a wonderful house building, abode here in the city centre of the fine city of York, the most haunted city in all of Europe. And in case you are unaware who I am, my name is Dorian Deathly, and I am a tour guide here in the city of York. Normally, you could find me out on the streets doing the stuff, telling the stories, having a bit of a wander around, sharing the ghostly goings-on and whatnot. But unfortunately, at the moment, I say unfortunately. Fortunately for you, you don't have to go anywhere. My tours cannot operate right now, so I'm been running a number of spooky situations. Oh, Sarah Windross says, can you not just simply wear the headphones upside down, Mrs. Deathly? Then allowing for hat space.
No, the hat's really big, so it covers my entire ears.
Oh, that's a shame.
Unfortunately.
That's a shame. But Mrs. D is working hard, as I say, to banish the banners,
Sorry,
scammers.
I'm not being rude. I don't
to
usually
hurl
like
the
to look at
scammers out into the night, and at some point, I said they normally give up after around sort of 10 minutes or so when they understand that no one's falling for it. So yes, what we do in Tales from the Fireplace, as well as I tend to sometimes do tours of the city of York, including the 25th of January. I'll be doing the Great Ghost Hunt of York. I'll be taking people out into the wilds of the city of York with my little permission slip. But in these episodes, the Tales from the Fireplace, we do all manner of interesting things. We talk about ghostly goings-on. We talk about haunted photographs. We talk about some videos that are said to have captured ghosts. We have a couple of those for you tonight. We have audience stories that are sent in by the audience. If you are new to the show and you have an audience story, a supernatural encounter perhaps you would like to share with us, we'll tell you how to do that before the night is through. In the middle of it all, I will be sharing with you a ghost story from the classic M.R. James, a wonderful author who I have experienced once or twice. Just to say, if anyone's experiencing anything cutting in or out, a bit of audio, best thing to do is to... oh, heck, one moment. Oh, are we still there? Oh, I think we're still there. That was a terrifying moment there where something the screen went entirely black, but there we go. But yes, best thing to do is probably restart your doodads and whatnot. We have a handy little bit of software here that sort of tells us how well our internet connection is, and at the moment we are at 100%, I'm happy to report, green. We have dropped not a single frame. So unfortunately, without offending you in any way, if there are any sort of stutters or jitters or anything freezing or whatnot, it is unfortunately your end. Because as you can see, there are people in the comments saying that everything's going fine, nothing's falling apart, nothing has exploded. Let me just, in case though, I'll turn that there until tomorrow. There we go. So there you go. My laptop is now completely 100% dedicated to all of you people. All of you people. It's ghosts, it's spooks in the internet. What are we drinking tonight? Oh, we're drinking something from a blue can. That's nice. This is fit for human consumption, I'm assuming?
Well,
I should probably ask you that before I drank it, but no, it's too late now. What else? Yes. Oh, I suppose first and foremost, obviously this is entirely free to watch, and I'll only mention this at the beginning of the night, and I'll mention it again right at the end. We do have our Pay What You Feel virtual tip jar running, paypal.me/Dorian Deathly. Anything you throw into there simply goes to myself and Mrs. Deathly, being able to pay our mortgage, quite frankly, because it's a very strange times to be working in tourism. It is Brewdog, yes indeed, Chris Batchelor. Not the most haunted of, I suppose I should be drinking spirits, really. I should be necking down spirits by the bucket, but, I need to remain coherent before the night ends. So I didn't think just to wet the whistle and to perhaps allow how's the knee, people ask. Oh, the knee is fine, thank you, the knee is fine. Unfortunately, the ear, not so much. I've reached the age of 40 and I started falling apart, but you're not here to hear about that, you're here to hear about the ghostly goings on. And without further ado, my friends, we're going to launch into it. We're going to launch into our first haunted image. Actually, we have accidentally... I'm going to come over to you now, Mrs. Deathly. Where's my little wide camera? There it is.
I never know which camera is on me.
It's the wide one there. It's a bit high up tonight, actually.
Me.
I think we must have knocked it slightly. I can see more ceiling, but that's fine, because enjoy our roof, everybody. Enjoy our roof. Yes. As we're drinking Brew Dog, or Boo Dog, as someone has said tonight, that's very fitting for our first haunted image tonight, which I'm going to take you over to now. So, here we are. Have that. I think this is the first time we've done a ghost dog on the show.
Oh,
possibly.
Gosh. Well, we talk about the Black Shuck. The
Black Shuck, the bar guest.
The bar guest, and
yes,
he's
the
a little
black
doggy.
dog. We do, but this is a very interesting one. So this is a photograph that was taken. It was actually in a print in 1939 in Life magazine. Now, the terrier that you can see in the left photograph was the beloved playmate of the big dog that is pictured to the right. And after the terrier died, the dog on the right was absolutely heartbroken. Now, the above right photo was snapped by a gentleman who claimed to be a psychic photographer of the big dog with its owner, and allegedly and peculiarly, it shows the spirit of the small terrier hovering directly above the big dog's backside. Now, just in case you can't see that, I'm going to go a little bit closer in. And there it is. This is very strange. This is a very strange image indeed, because it's there. It's quite frankly, it's the head of a terrier. What do we make of that? What on earth do we make of that situation? Very strange. Very, very peculiar. Now, the one thing we do here in the Deathly Dark Tours at Tales from the Fireplace is we never prescribe things to you. We never tell you what we think is or is not real. We simply provide you with the evidence. They were very close friends, says Tim Leff. They were indeed very close friends. Can you see it, Mrs. D?
I'm just trying to find the stream because
we're having a few technical issues tonight, aren't we?
My laptop's angry at me.
Technical issues indeed. Yes, interesting photograph. Normally, of course, people will cry pareidolia, there it is. People will perhaps suggest photographic trickery. But in this case, that's a bit of an odd one. We're going to go over to Mrs. D for the verdict. That's pareidolia. Is that what you think there? You think it's people seeing... What do you think we're seeing there then?
Well, I can't actually see it for myself yet.
Can you not?
So
are you catching up?
I'd love to be able to tell
okay.
you, but...
So you were just preemptively throwing out a pareidolia.
Did you say that's pareidolia and I got excited?
Oh, you did indeed. Okay, well, let's move on to our second image of the night. A second image of the night. This is a very odd one. So this is something we've talked about before, how you don't really see modern ghostly photographs. We always sort of say, he's always black and grainy and a bit horrible. But for some reason, in the case of this one, look at this. So this is a selfie that was taken by a teenager with her nephew when her sister lurched in and photobombed it. So we have mum, auntie, and little nephew there. And then in the middle of it all, we have something slightly peculiar, something very strange. I mean, I'm assuming you've all seen it, but nevertheless, as we like to do here on the Deathly Dark Tours, let's go in a little bit closer. Now, they swear blind that there was nobody else in the room. Is that okay for you there, Mrs. D? Can you see that? Just spin the camera. Just there, look. Oh, she's run away in the horrors. There you go. So here's the story. She thought it was funny, but on closer inspection, there was an unexpected figure between them. Now, they say they were absolutely 100% alone in the room. They say that there was nobody else in there with them, but nevertheless, there she is, with the clasped hands. And again, interesting how we always say that we don't normally capture modern ghostly photographs, but in the case of that incident, it appears that we have. Once again, make of it, quite frankly, what you will.
Oh, I've got it.
You've got it.
Oh,
excellent.
That is a bit creepy, isn't it?
Which one have you got? Are you on the photograph?
Hands.
Would you like me to throw you the dog photograph back up?
But no,
Mrs.
I've just
D?
seen it.
You've seen the dog photograph.
Dog's head coming out of dog's bum.
Dog's head out of dog's bum.
Yeah,
Lovely.
I'm tempted to say on the dog one that there was just another dog there. Because a lot of dogs look the same, don't they? Not to be a dog racist.
The curious white line down the side. The curious white line down the side. What's he talking? Is that someone? Let me just clip over to that there. That, as you can see, that is simply just. It's because the image that I'm showing you here. This is the zoomed out one of the original selfie or Snapchat, as you like to think. If you go in closer, the white line that's there is due to the. Oh, are we talking about the white line? Well, I think that's sunlight that's hit the person's coat. Could it be a photograph behind him? A bloody large photograph. But, nevertheless, again, it's interesting what people see. I find it very interesting. Where the mind goes. Now, the thing about ghost photography, spirit photography, things like this is, it can be quite difficult to find a voluminous number of them. It's obviously there's only a limited number of these things out there. So I wanted to make sure that we started the new year with a Tales from the Fireplace, and I think the plan is to do maybe 6 of these per year, so one every 2 months. We'll do a Tales from the Fireplace because otherwise, quite frankly, we'll just run out of stuff to talk about.
Quality, not quantity.
Quality over quantity. The one we did before the new year, obviously, was like a best of. So we'll do that again with the end of the year, which is quite a nice sort of Tales in the Fireplace. I know Christmas 2021 is almost an impossible amount of time away, but it's coming for us. It's on the way. Sneeze and you'll miss it.
Yeah, sooner than you know. Don't sneeze.
Before you don't sneeze. Not this close to the microphone. So, it's time for some audience stories. Now, I'm going to abandon you for a little while, Mrs. D. I do apologise. And let me just pull up the audience stories here. So these tales that I'm about to share with you now are stories that were sent to us by people who watch the show, people who have encountered perhaps something of the otherness. And without further ado, we're going to launch into them here. This is a story that was sent to us by Stuart Moreau, and it was a story that was passed down by his partner Lucy's dad. So here we go. A number of years ago, while visiting my nana in a village south of Selby, My dad and I were talking over the fence to the new neighbour, who had recently moved in and was modernising the house, and we were joking about a bath which had been placed in the gardens, along the lines of it being a new hot tub, what with it being a scorchingly hot day. The house dated back from the 30s and 40s, and was all going very well until they started working in the bathroom. Now, the first curiosity was when he tried to when he tried to fit the new soil pipe. After drilling the hole in the wall from the outside and inserting the pipe, he went into the house to connect it, only to find that the pipe had been pushed out. Now, assuming either the wind, as we like to say here in Yorkshire, the wind or practical jokers, he attempted to repeat the task, only to find the same outcome. On the third attempt, the pipe was tied into place, and when he got inside, the pipe was actually straining against the ropes. After a few days of tools being moved and other oddities, as he said, his partner was a little concerned, and so they called the local vicar to see if anyone could lend any insight. They explained their concerns about the ghost, but didn't mention the room. The vicar passed on his knowledge that the previous owner, an elderly lady, had sadly passed away after complications from a fall down the stairs. After a tour of the house, the vicar noted that the bathroom was considerably colder than the other rooms, despite the heat of summer, so doubted the two were connected and he would look into it further. A few days later, they got a message from the vicar. He had done some research and found the lady had lived with her sister, who sadly passed away a number of decades previous after falling asleep in that very bathtub. Needless to say, the bath was very carefully removed, without damage, and carried respectably to the garden. Immediately, the bathroom warmed up, the temperature rose, and all the oddities ceased. Clearly not overlooking, clearly not overly convinced, me and my dad were invited to see the bath. On the day with temperatures touching the high 20s, the bath in the sun, and when you walked over, the area surrounding the tub felt notably colder. Ooh, I think that's a first. I don't think we've had a tale of a haunted tub before, do you?
Tales from the bathtub.
Tales from the tub. Maybe we should change things up a little bit in the future.
We don't have a bath.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Well, maybe one day we'll have a bathtub and we can do tales from the bathtub. I mean, it could be
feel free to do that. I'm not going to join you if that's okay.
Okay. Very disappointing. Nevertheless. So what do we make of that one, Mrs. D?
Yeah. Spooky bathtub. Right?
Spooky bathtub. Very peculiar.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. Watching from the bath, probably TMI, going to get out quickly. Someone's literally watching, just going to get out the bathtub. Before we share story number 2 tonight, because we have, I think we have 4 of these in total, including actually 3 audience stories, and then not a 4th audience story tonight, because I wanted to talk about something that you and I are very familiar with, that many of us have talked about before, but I don't think we've talked about on this show. Dear David.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm just wondering if I could introduce some people to Dear David for the first time. We'll talk about it later on. I hope so, hopefully.
It was quite a while ago, wasn't it? I think maybe.
It was 2017, I think, is when it all flared up. But it's either one of the most terrifying modern day hauntings ever, or it's a wonderful modern ghost story. So we'll allow you to decide. Yes. So, story time number 2. And this is a story that was sent in by Leslie Spillman. A number of years ago, my good friends bought an old and rather derelict house in the Highlands of Scotland. Well, there's your first mistake. Don't buy an old derelict house in the Highlands of Scotland. It had been used for years as a rental property as part of an estate, but had stood empty for a while before they bought it. Being handy, my friend's husband was doing the majority of the work himself. They lived in semi-squalor for a year while doing major renovations to make the place safe and habitable again. They had a little boy who was around 4 at the time and another baby on the way. Now, while lifting the rotten floorboards in the main living room, they found a child's shoe. Thinking nothing of it, it went out with the rubbish into the skip. That night, my friend was preparing to bathe his son. While running the water, heard him from the bedroom speaking to somebody in the bathroom. She thought it was just him playing with an imaginary friend. Whilst he was in the bath, she asked him about this friend, and he described a little boy about his own age, dressed in pyjamas with aeroplanes on them, who, he said calmly, was standing right behind her. She felt quite chilled by this, and seeing her anxiety, her son hastened to reassure her, "Don't be afraid, Mummy. It's okay. He's dead now." Since then, they've heard the child playing on the stairs. They've also heard a baby crying over the monitor. And when she went to check on her newborn daughter, the baby was sound asleep. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I think I might have to pass you this. I feel like you need it.
I think. That gets one from me. That gets a hard note from me. Don't worry, Mummy. He's dead now.
Oh,
have your note back. Heavens above. I got a bit of a back sweat.
When children say creepy things, that is a big note for me. Apparently, I used to do that.
Well, we've talked, haven't we, before about children being more susceptible to goings on, to shenanigans, as it were.
My mum will tell you.
Yeah.
When I was really little, she went to the bathroom in the night, and when she came out, I was standing in my white nightdress in the hallway, and I said, "Where are you going, Mummy?"
Just being a ghost. Just generally being a big old spook. Awfulness. Where are we next? A video. An interesting video. Let me just buffer this up here. So that was that one there, and that's this one here. So, if you know about Dear David, don't ruin it. Don't talk too much about it. Certainly don't Google it yet. We'll be posting a link to the whole Dear David thing on our Facebook page at the end of the show, so you can. And I'll tell you, I'll give you information about it. Don't ruin it. Don't go Googling it yet. Don't go talking about it. Keep it. Shh. We'll come to it when it's time. I shouldn't have said anything. We're going to leave you for a brief.
Delete and ban.
We're going to leave you for a brief moment now with a video that was taken on Vickers Hill. And before I forget, just to before I forget to do this, to say happy birthday to somebody who's watching us tonight. It's Zach. Zach.
13.
Zach, 13 years old. I think was it today or
yesterday.
Yesterday. But a very, very happy birthday, Zach. Very, very happy birthday indeed. Forthcoming spookologist. Absolutely going to happen before. There we go. So this is what here we go. So this video I'm about to show you was taken in. Oh, is that better for your Dawn? I'll just turn the music down a little bit then. Is that a little bit better?
You're clanging your bells at people.
I've got my music on a little bit too loud. I do apologise, everybody. I've developed a little bit of a problem with one of my ears over the last week or so, and I can't quite hear things better as good. So let me know if the music is a little bit too loud. Please do let me know. I like the doody 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 doody. I find it's almost hypnotic.
I think maybe a little bit more.
A little louder.
Less.
A little less. How's that? Yes. No.
A little bit less.
A little bit less.
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
That's a sweet.
So, and now I'm going to turn the music off while I play. So, what you're looking at there is a video that was filmed in July 2017 in Vickers Hill. It was in Armagh, in the shadow of the towering church of the Church of Ireland Cathedral. Now, it's interesting because they say the distinctive figure can be seen walking from one side of the road to the other before disappearing into the wall and the grounds of the cathedral opposite. They said that they slowed down and zoomed in on the footage, and the figure appears to be that of a man or a boy dressed in Georgian attire, befitting of the city's ancient roots. The person who sent it their way wanted to remain anonymous, but seemed to think that his grandmother caught the ghostly figure on her dash cam, despite the camera's movement. The man said, "My granny is still hyperventilating from the shock of seeing the ghost." Vickers Hill has a chilling and rather grim history. Has anyone ever heard of the Green Lady? For generations, the tale of the Green Lady struck fear into the hearts of children across the county. Often mutated storytelling means that many different versions were relayed over the years. Word of mouth can do strange things. The one thing that is certain in all of it is that anyone of a certain age will remember hearing the tale and knowing full well it was time to get home before dark, or the Green Lady will get you. Ooh. There are bound to be many variations and reworkings of the story. There was a Green Lady there. She was also talk of a White Lady. That's, of course, Scarborough has the White Lady. York has the Grey Lady. Edinburgh has the Brown Lady. She lived at the Folly, which was in the city centre. What many are not aware of is the origins of the story, which they have heard growing up, and it's actually based on fact. It's a tragic story, a terrible tale of infanticide, of insanity, of suicide, murder, a fall from grace from the big house to a shocking end in a Dublin slum. The Green Lady of Vickers Hill stems from a macabre murder case that was more than 125 years ago, when 21-year-old Belina Pryor, daughter of the late military commander of the area, was charged with the murder of 4-year-old Anne Slavin from Canal Street in 1888. Yes. So the interesting thing here is I've done a little bit more reading into this one. People are already noticing that the image drops off the pavement and then walks straight across the line. Now, apparently, that area has been a paved area for a very long time, but the wall is new.
Oh.
The wall is a newer addition to the area. There was a wall there, but it was slightly further back, and it had a small gate in it. So it appears that whatever it is heading through there. So some people are saying, "Can we watch it again?" We can. We can watch it again this time with some commentary. So there you are. The video of a shadowy figure was taken in broad daylight on Vickers Hill, and then, as you can see, just walks through the wall there. Now, it's a dashboard. They say it's a dashboard cam. I think what they've done is they've filmed it on a dashboard cam, and then they filmed it on their phones. So that's why we've got the motion there. It's a video of a video. Yeah, it's interesting either way you look at it. You know, whether or not it's, and I do say the term real very loosely indeed. It's interesting that it created such a fuss. Do you know what I mean? So many people got so very excited about it. And this was a whole thing that went, it got out there. It really got out there.
And when was this?
This was in 2017, which coincidentally is the same year as the second video that I'll be showing you towards the end of the night, which was an Irish school. Again, just going for the old 2017. I was coincidental there. Coincidental theme. Very odd. How do we feel about the video, Mrs. D?
Well, I haven't seen it.
Oh, yes,
because I've got absolutely no internet on my phone or laptop.
No.
So
You've been shunned from the world.
Trying to watch it in the reflections of your pupils.
Just don't move. Just don't move. Oh, my goodness me. Anyway, I think it's time for a story. You don't need to worry about this one, Mrs. D, because you don't need to see it.
Back and,
you can just sit back and relax.
Well, I don't know about relax.
A bit of a quiet time.
I don't know if you can relax while you're listening to a ghost story.
So this is an interesting ghost story. This is a story called There Was a Man Dwelt by a Churchyard, and it's written by M.R. James. It was first published in 1924 and again in 1931. Now, I'll read you the introduction and then the afterword that he wrote for this story. But to give you a little bit of context, it's based upon a few lines of Shakespeare that are written in, I believe, A Winter's Tale, Mamilius. And he says, these are the words of M.R. James. This, you know, is the beginning of the story about sprites and goblins, which Mamilius, the best child in Shakespeare, was telling to his mother, the queen, and the court ladies when the king came in with his guards and hurried her off to prison. So the way it goes is Mamilius was telling a ghost story. And I believe he only got a few lines into it, and then M.R. James has expanded from that and made it into the story, which he has called There Was a Man Dwelt by a Churchyard. And here it is. This, you know, is the beginning of a story about sprites and goblins. Wait. One moment. This will make more sense. I went into storytelling mode on the introduction. This is the story. Okay. There was a man dwelt by a churchyard. His house had a lower story of stone and an upper one of timber. The front windows looked out on the street, and the back ones on the churchyard. It had once belonged to the parish priest, but the priest was a married man and wanted more room. Besides, his wife disliked seeing the churchyard at night out of her bedroom window. She gave her husband no peace until he agreed to move into a larger house in the village street. The old one was taken by John Poole, who was a widower and lived there on his own. He was an elderly gentleman who kept very much to himself, and people said he was something of a miser. It was very likely true. He was morbid in other ways, certainly, and in those days it was common to bury people at night, and by torchlight, and it was noticed that whenever a funeral was toward, John Poole was always at his window, either on the ground floor or upstairs, according as he could get the better view from one or the other. Now there came a night when an old woman was to be buried. She was fairly well-to-do, but she was not liked in the place. The usual thing was said of her, that she was no Christian, and on such nights as Midsummer's Eve and All Hallows she was not to be found in her house. She was red-eyed and dreadful to look at. No beggar ever knocked at her door, yet when she died she left a purse of money to the church. There was no storm on the night of her burial. It was fair and calm, but there was some difficulty about getting bearers and men to carry the torches, in spite of the fact that she had left larger fees than common for such work. She was buried in wool, not a coffin. No one was there but those who were actually needed, and John Poole, watching from his window, just before the grave filled in. The parson stooped down and cast something upon the body, something that clinked, and in a low voice he said, with words that sounded like, "Thy money perish with thee." Then he walked quickly away, and so did the other men, leaving only one torchbearer to light, the sexton and his boy, while they shovelled the earth into place. They made a very neat job of it, too, and the next day, which was a Sunday, the churchgoers seemed rather sharp with the sexton, saying that it was the untidiest grave in the yard, and indeed, when he came to look at it, he said it was much worse than when he had left it. Meanwhile, John Poole went about with a curious air, half exulting, as it were, half nervous. More than once he spent an evening at the inn, which was clean, contrary to his usual habit. Those who fell in talk with him hinted that he had come into a little bit of money, and was looking out for somewhat of a better house. "Well, I don't wonder," said the smith one night. "I shouldn't care for that place of yours. Should be fancying new things all night." The landlord asked him what sort of things he meant. "Well, maybe somebody climbing up to the chamber window or the like of that," said the smith. "I don't know, old Mother Wilkins was that buried a week ago, eh?" "I think you might consider of a person's feelings," said the landlord. "It ain't so pleasant for Master Poole, is it now?" "Master Poole don't mind," said the smith. "He's been long enough to know. I only says it as it wouldn't be my choice, what with the passing bell and the torches when there's a burial. All them graves lying so quiet when there's no one about. Only says that there's lights. Don't you ever see those lights, Mr. Poole?" "No, I don't ever see no lights," said Poole sulkily, and called for another drink, and went home late. That night, as he lay in his bed upstairs, a moaning wind began to play around the house, and he could not sleep. He got up and walked across the room to a little cupboard in the wall. He took out a little something that clinked, and put it in the breast of his bedgown. He went to the window and looked out into the churchyard. Have you ever seen an old brass in a church with the figure of a person in a shroud? It is bunched together at the top of the head in a curious way. Something like that was sticking up out of the spot of the earth in the churchyard which John Poole knew all too well. He darted into his bed and lay there, very still indeed. Presently something made a very faint rattling at the casement. With a dreadful reluctance, John Poole turned his eyes that way. Between him and the moonlight was the black outline of a curious figure bunched. Then there was a figure in the room. Dry earth and soil rattled on the floor. A low, cracked voice said, "Where is it?" And steps went hither and thither, faltering steps as one looking and walking with difficulty. It could be seen now and again, peering into corners, stooping to look under the chairs. Finally it could be heard fumbling at the doors of the cupboard in the wall, throwing them open. There was a sound of long nails scratching on the empty shelves. The figure whipped round, stood for an instant at the side of the bed, raised its arms, and with a hoarse scream descended upon Poole. "You've got it." Now at this point in the play, Mamilius actually screams the line out and launches himself towards somebody. It's meant to be a very short story, and it's like a kind of the first jump scare ever. And it's a wonderful story. It's very brief, but What did you make of it?
I like the language.
Well, that's M.R. James. He writes wonderful words. It's that creeping, slow thing, and it's one of those things that the first time I read it, I actually missed what had happened. That was the thing. Did you catch what had happened? You missed it.
I think you should explain it.
Okay, I should explain it. So, Mr. Poole moves into the house by the graveyard, and he knows that a very wealthy woman has been buried there, and the woman is not well liked, but she leaves a purse of coin to the church, and when they're burying her,
It's been buried
the
with
pastor throws it in and says, "Take your coin with you." So there's the clink, and then Parsons goes out that night, and he digs the coin up, and then she comes to take it back from him. Very good, though. Very good. Yeah. I'm quite a fan of that one. Creepy. Very creepy.
I just want to say,
yes.
There's a bit where they said in a cracked voice, and your cracked voice was excellent.
Excellent. I've been working very hard on my cracked voice. Thank you. A lot of
Just
work
comes
there.
naturally at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. It's about as much as I can muster, really. Just like, oh, God, help me. Save me. Let's move on to some photographs. Now, Mrs. D, you might have to lean in to see these ones now.
Oh, can I come over?
Of course you can.
Right, I tell you what.
Come on, then.
Over there.
Come
Who
on
needs
in.
3 cameras? BRB.
So this is a photograph that was taken in the 1970s at a birthday party. The face at the bottom of the photograph that's almost in silhouette did not belong to anybody that was there. The birthday girl's mum said it looked like their other daughter, Marie. Now, the problem there is that at the time the photo was taken, I'm afraid to say that Marie had been dead for 10 years. So you can see Marie there, and as is the way, let us go in a little bit closer. There you have it. So everyone else is very well lit by the sun. And then you have this young girl's face just there appearing at the front. Yeah.
Where on earth did you find this?
Where on earth did I find that indeed? Hello. Fancy seeing you here. Nice hat, mate. Nice hat. Yeah, interesting one. So there again, I'll read that back. So the photo was taken at the birthday party in the 1970s. And the face at the front of the photograph apparently belonged to nobody. There was nobody there in that photograph. There was nobody there in the photograph. And it wasn't until after the photograph was developed that they had a bit of an issue, because obviously the problem was that the person in the photograph at the front had been dead for some 10 years.
I don't...
I'm not a fan.
I can't just...
And of course, you could argue perhaps it's just someone that's holding the photo, sort of going for a classic selfie. But either way, bit weird. A little bit weird. Very strange. Very strange.
Pictures of me that look like that, to be fair.
There are, yeah. Well, modern times. Let's jump into this. This is a new. I think this one was taken in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, and it's simply entitled
Don't let it be the kid.
"The Crying Little Girl."
No.
Well, the little girl in the corner on the right is there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Now, this was taken during a family gathering, and the little girl in the right corner was inconsolable. When they asked what was wrong, she simply said, "The little boy is scaring me." They all thought it was a tantrum, just a bit of a temper tantrum, so they let her get on with it until the photograph was developed and someone spotted something at knee height. Let's take a closer look, shall we? See if you can see what was seen.
what was seen?
No? Closer still?
Oh, no!
Closer still,
No.
perhaps?
No.
Yeah.
No. Make it stop.
I can't make it stop. It's a photograph. It lives there
I'd
now.
cry if I saw that.
Yeah, that's not...
Okay, so I know it is the skirting board. However, it looks like outstretched arms going
It does.
behind them all. As
It
well.
does. It looks like they're going for a deathly leg embrace.
Ooh,
Oh, let's have a little bit of a cuddle, shall we? Little bit of a cuddle.
Sutherland from Lost Boys.
Dear Lord. Dear Lord. Ooh. So there you go. Take that in with your eyes. I'm very sorry, everybody.
Can't unsee
Very
that,
sorry,
can
Mrs.
you?
D. Do you want to return to your throne?
Yes, my back hurts.
Yes, you do. You can't do that for the next half hour.
Gosh, it's very difficult to...
It's got this. It probably seems like a deceptively large space we have here, but it's actually we're quite. It took you about 10 minutes to get to me. So, ooh. Oh, someone said my niece is friends with the blonde girl in the photograph. And it was taken in Plymouth. True photo. It's been admitted. Oh, Dean Phillips said it has been admitted it was fake. Which one, Dean? Which one? It's always children. Why is it always children? Why is it always the smaller humans? Why is it always those tiny little? Gross. Gross.
So which was admitted it was fake?
I'm just waiting to, because we're on a bit of a delay, so I think when we speak, you guys hear us about 30 seconds afterwards. So, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see which one was proven to be fake. So, I mean, it's a bit of a shame, obviously, but that's the way these things go. They're going to get debunked or heralded or proven, whatever. Marvelous. Anyway, I think while we're waiting to hear back, we'll move on. The one with the crying girl. Oh, that's a shame. Still.
Nope.
It's audience story time. So, audience story time. So this is a story that was sent in by Tracy Abrams Porter.
Ooh.
Hello, Tracy. Hope you are both well. Yeah, we're all right. Not bad. Could be a bit better, truth be told, but we're all right. Here is my true tale, should you wish to share it. I like the way she's written this. 1983. Come with me. Oh, already.
I will.
This tale is not brought to you from an old rickety haunted house. There are no creaking fireboards. There are no creaking floorboards. What's a fireboard? There are no creaking floorboards, roaring open fires, or even a cellar. This story begins in 1983 in a modern tower block of flats in Berlin. This is where my story begins. But that thing, it has always followed me throughout my life. I never know when it will stir, but it always makes me uneasy knowing it's there. 1983. Come with me. Aged just 4, I was a wee dot of a girl. My parents had friends over in the evening, and I insisted on sleeping in their bed. I remember they had a tall set of drawers in the corner of their room that towered above my tiny frame upon its glass figurine ornaments. 1 man and 2 ladies. Hysteria and panic elapsed. My parents tell me I was screaming uncontrollably and that they ran through to the room in a panic, and there I was huddled on top of the towering drawers with the glass figurines circled around me. I was shaking and crying. I told them that the angels had been and said, "Come with me." Both Mum and Dad were scared. They could not explain how on earth I was sat on top of the drawers. It just wasn't physically possible. The glass figurines were disposed of, but none of us ever forgot that night. All quiet. And for 7 years it left me alone. The next time it came, I had a witness to the horror. 1990 now. Again, no spooky house. A 3-bedroom semi in a small town in England. I'd always sleep with the door open and light on, scarred by 1983. Come with me. Myself and my best friend were playing in my room, and then it came back. This time, I was older. It frightened me even more. It started with a buzz, almost like an electrical whine. We were both shocked and searched the room. Nothing. We couldn't find the buzz, although it was loud. We could hear it. It was dangling in the air without a source. I went down to tell Mum, who was mightily annoyed I'd interrupted a TV programme. "It'll be nothing," she said. So back upstairs we went. As we entered the room, there it was, the buzz. Then a deathly silence, followed by a sound that is etched horrifically into my memory. A sound of a booming voice I will never forget. Out of the silence roared a man's voice. Now, I don't know how to read this. It sounds like it says Jar. J-A, lots of A's and H's. Jar.
Yeah, I'd say that's right.
Screaming, we ran down the stairs, narrowly missing the glass panel at the bottom of the staircase. Mum shot up from the sofa, seeing the distress that we were both in. We had both heard it, and we were now both scarred from it, but who or what was it? It has often played on my mind. Who was Jar? Why shout it so aggressively? Only recently have I plucked up the courage to look into this, as I never wanted to come back. Jar is the shortened form of Jehovah, God's personal name in the Bible, often appearing as part of biblical names as Aya or Jeho, as in Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Hosea, Hebrew words such as hallelujah. We fast forward to 2020, my husband and I are talking of the freakish Jar incident, and then suddenly, after a while, without prompt or request from Google Assist, it says, "Your God did not want to speak to you that day." Am I right Tracy, if you're watching, am I right in reading that right? That the Google Assist said your God did not want to speak to you that day. Frozen, we looked at each other in shock. It made me feel that this thing is still there, maybe awaiting another 10 years to reappear. I can only hope it leaves me be. The angels don't come for me again, and the jar stays quiet.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. You're right over there.
Yeah. That was good, wasn't it? But Tracy, oh, no.
Absolute nopes.
I'm so sorry.
Nopes are popping.
Oh.
Heavens above.
Do you know, Google Assistants, she's probably listening to me right now and I don't even care, in my pocket.
They're all there taking notes.
They say the scariest things.
I always pipes every now and again. Awful. Thanks, Tracy, for sending that in. Gross. So the next story, I say story, this is actually, let me just find it now. This is, I think it's this one here. Ah, yes, this is Dear David. Dear David. So Dear David, if you're not aware of Dear David, you're welcome. It's a story or a series of incidents and experiences that were shared by Adam Ellis, who is an artist who recorded a very long series. Hello?
Turn the music down.
Oh, yes. How's that? Better? One of the first encounters with Dear David took place when Adam was experiencing an episode of sleep paralysis when he first saw the boy sitting in the green rocking chair at the foot of his bed. A few nights later, he had another dream where a girl said to him, "You've seen Dear David, haven't you?" She reportedly told Adam in his dream that David only appears at midnight and that at that moment he could ask the boy 2 questions if he said, "Dear David," first. But if he asked 3, David would kill him. When David appeared in his dreams, Adam forgot the warning and asked the ghost 3 questions.
Oh.
Whoops.
Dear.
Oh dear.
David.
A few months went on. Things would happen occasionally. Most notably, his cats would stare at the door at midnight. He took photos using a Polaroid camera. And in certain areas, these Polaroids would only develop black. He took a photo of a doorway with his phone, and the hallway is clearly lit. But when he took a photograph of the Polaroid camera, at the same time, everything beyond the door frame developed as blackness. The whole situation went on for months until in December that year, this photograph was captured. Where is it?
I don't have to come over to see this one.
No, you don't, do you? There we go. So December 13th. There it is. Oh my goodness. Now, if you can't quite make it out, I'm going to go in a little bit closer. Now, what makes this interesting is that that Adam he'd been drawing the image. He'd been what he thought he'd seen in his dreams, and there's a piece of artwork that he shared that looks very much like this, with the misshapen head, the odd features. All sorts of things happened. They found shoes, they found toys. There was things about the cameras that they set up. He went away to Japan for a while, and he had motion cameras running, and all sorts was captured. Now we'll share the link with you at the end of this. We'll actually just post it on our Facebook page, and you can go in there and check it out yourself and see exactly what you make of it. He did it all on Twitter.
I remember rightly that. Yeah, I remember it happening at the time. I was following it, and I don't. Do you know what year was it?
I think it was like 17, 18.
Oh, okay. I was going to say maybe that was how we met, but no, it wasn't.
Something,
because
maybe
I don't go on Twitter very often.
No, but this was like, a lot of people were following this, and whether it's
I saw that and I was like, I need to keep checking.
Real or fake, it's either a wonderful modern haunting or a wonderful modern ghost story, because the medium was used brilliantly. And what he's done as a website called Wakelet, and Wakelet, you can compile Twitter threads, and he's compiled every single one that he did, like with gaps and everything. So over the course of like the year, it's all there in this single link to sit down and read. So we'll share that with you later on, so you can have a little bit of a scurry through it and see indeed what you make of it. Very strange indeed. So we're going to move on now to our second video, our final video of the night, actually. Let me see, I think it's this one here. So this is, let me just pull up the information. This was a video that was captured by CCTV in October 2007 at the Deer Park Catholic Boys School. And I'm just going to let the video play, and then we'll come back and talk to you about it. So annoyingly, Mrs. Deathley couldn't see that, which is annoying. But it's so just to recap, it's a video that captured on CCTV. Surveillance cameras captured some spooky happenings at a hallway at 3 a.m. On October the 1st in Deer Park CBS School in Cork Island, just a few weeks before Halloween. Lockers shake, papers fly, doors slam, and a plastic sign on the floor flops open. Upon first seeing the footage, Deer Park Deputy Principal Aaron Wolfe sent the clip to the principal, Kevin Barry, in disbelief. Wolfe came to the school last year and was informed by staff of strange happenings in the past, from hallways being unnaturally cold to sounds of crying. Many people have contacted us with stories about the school being haunted, he says. Now, luckily, I find this is an interesting sentence. Luckily, the school doesn't have any sort of creepy backstory. And then he goes on to say, the school is built on a site known as Green Gallows. In the 19th century, criminals were hanged here on a Monday.
That's not creepy.
So the school has no creepy backstory other than the fact that it's built on the site of an old gallows where criminals were hanged on a Monday. So it doesn't have a backstory. Thank you.
I've seen this video before, by the way.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's very good, isn't it? People have suggested that we've used green screen or edited it out. I wish our school had these kinds of resources. Others have suggested that fishing line is used. I don't see how this would be possible. Fishing line could open a locker because the lockers don't stay closed unless the latch is turned. Also, the corridor is on the first floor and the window behind the locker doesn't open. However, anything is possible. Wolf says he doesn't believe the school to be haunted. However, anything is possible. A medium has contacted me, he says, to tell me that something will happen one night that will make me a believer. I should probably reach out to him and say, hey.
On a Monday.
On a Monday. Did you see something that freaks you out on a Monday? Ooh. Cracking video, though. Mm-hmm. Cracking video. Let me see. What have we got left?
See what people have to say about that one.
Yeah, what do we make of that one? So we're going to move on now to our final image of the night now. And then we're going to do a little bit of a rundown for some upcoming events that we have coming up. But you'll forgive me. We normally run this a bit of an hour 15, hour and a half, but I'm feeling a little bit under the weather at the moment. So we're just going to do an hour-long one. I'm going to head home and tuck myself away in some kind of warm cocoon for the night. So... this is a story that was sent in to us by Rob Daniels. Thank you, Rob, very much indeed. It has a photograph that accompanies it. So I'm just going to read this to you, and then I will share you the image that Rob sent over to me. Here we go. I used to be a team leader with a paranormal events company, hosting events, ghost hunts all over the country. This particular night, we were in Smith Hills Hall, Bolton, a Grade 1 listed manor house dating back to the 15th century, preparing to welcome that evening's paying guests. The hall is a fascinating old building with sections still as they were when built for the High Sheriff of Lancashire, with the imposing Great Hall, the stone floors and restored implements of the buttery and the kitchens, through later additions such as a chapel and a very impressive wood-panelled drawing room. To Victorian extensions, it is a real trip through history and well worth the visit when allowed to do so. So that the team leaders were all familiar with the layout of the hall and the schedule for the evening, we walked through the room, separating the hall into our sections for the night's investigating and taking numerous photos. The guests for the evening arrived and were signed in, given our safety briefing, and split into the groups so that the event could begin. I had a small group of 6 guests, my fellow team leader and me, starting off from the later Victorian section. We were well separated from the other groups with several rooms and doors between us so as to avoid noise contamination. In addition, we were all equipped with walkie-talkies, so we could check in with each other and, should we hear any unexplained noises, we could instantly find out if any other groups had strayed into the area or heard the noises from where they were. Our part of the hall started with a small library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, wood panelling and displays of old documents and maps. From this room, a sturdy wooden door opened into a small hallway through to the ladies' sitting room and to the bottom of a staircase leading to the upstairs. Unfortunately, the upper floor was deemed unsafe for public access due to fire regulations and distances from fire exits, so the staircase was roped off and unused. After spending some time in the library, asking out, that's listening for strange noises, we decided to move through to the sitting room to see if we could get any responses through there. Now we closed both doors, the one to the library and the one to the hallway, and we stood or sat to wait if anything would be experienced. Before long, we heard the sound of footsteps seemingly coming to the staircase, as if someone was walking down the wooden stairs. I opened the door to see who it was, but quickly the hallway was empty and in darkness. Quickly checking the other groups, I confirmed that there was no one upstairs, and no one other than my group anywhere near in the building. We opened the door to the library, but this room was also empty. We left the doors open and returned to the sitting room, and a nervous energy spread throughout the group as it discussed what they had heard and what it could have been. Talking quietly about the old houses creaking, the cooled and other rational explanations, we heard the footsteps again. As we listened, it was a definite tread moving down the stairs towards the hallway. We all turned and looked towards the open door, the nervousness increasing. As the footsteps reached the bottom, we could see nothing. Well, perhaps they went in there, someone suggested, so as team leader, I headed through the door into the hall. Glancing at the stairs, I could see nothing. The ropes were still across the staircase, the no access sign in place. I turned to head into the library, and with a bang, the door slammed closed in front of me, just missing hitting me in the face. There were startled gasps from behind me, the group having followed as far as the doorway to the hall. With a trembling hand, I took hold of the handle and opened the door to the library. Shining my torch, the room was just as I had left it. We checked the far door, the only access to the room. This is currently closed. We could find no explanation for the noises of the slamming door. We returned to the group to meet in the break room between sessions. I discussed what we had experienced with the other team leaders so that they could see if they had experienced footsteps repeated when they were in that section, but not with the other group members, suggesting having a powerful influence on the imagination. Now, I need at this point to give due credit to the original photographer Margaret Lowe, who gave me permission to use the photograph. I need to stress, before I show the photograph, that the picture has not been edited in any way, and I was in the room next to Margaret when this photograph was taken. So, here we are. Now, before I share the closer up one, I want to see if anyone can notice what it is. I want to see if anyone can sort of make out clearly what's in place there. It's an interesting one, this. I'm going to go a little bit closer in now. That one there. There we go. In the picture, you can see 3 of the other team leaders, one just about to walk through the doorway from the hall to the library. I can verify that no one else was in the room besides the 3 in the picture. Margaret, who took the photo, and me. But count the hands. Count the hands.
I've seen this one when I was looking through the...
Yeah, Rob sent this, so he sent it via Tales from the Fireplace at Google Mail. I think that's your email address. Gmail. Hand. Everyone's like, people, hand. There's an extra hand. Very interesting. And again, I love on this is a photograph that was just, it's just there. There's no, Rob tells us there's been no doctoring, no fiddling around with the image. It's just an extra hand. Thing, says Valerie. Beautiful work.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, lurking in the background. There you go. Make of these what you will. Interesting. So a bit of a creepy ending tonight, rather than we've gone for some kind of gut wrenching horrors to end on. But tonight I wanted to end on more of a kind of peculiar and unusual tale, rather than something that is truly, truly horrifying. But yeah, how are you feeling, Mrs. D, after all of that?
A little bit creeped out, to be honest.
It's very dark in here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the temperature's certainly closed.
It's really cold.
Dropped. It's very cold. So I think it's about time we wrap things up. Thank you very much to everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you very much for those of you who joined us for the first time. If you would like to join us for more, I will be doing a free-to-watch spooky adventure on the 25th of January. That's next Monday. It's a week today. And we'll be taking people around the streets of York, the haunted
York ghost hunt, which actually has, as of a few hours ago,
I know,
got to 10,000 people.
And let me just
on the events.
Bear with me.
We're 9 people away.
We're 9 people away. Oh my gosh.
We are currently 9 people away from 5,000 likes on the page. Historically, saying that is a bad omen, and people will now go and unlike us on purpose.
No. They'll be like, we'll drop down now to like less than 50. If you have enjoyed it, the link is there, paypal.me/Dorian Deathly. Please do pay what you feel. If you have enjoyed the show tonight, please do. Your kind contributions keep us going, and in these strange times for us to be working in tourism, and anything is vastly appreciated. The tales, the email, again, we'll share the email. We'll do a post when we get home that says everything. The tales from the fireplace @gmail.com. If you want to send us any of your stories, please feel free to do so. I have a pay to watch ticketed event on Thursday night. At the moment, I'm planning to run it, but we'll see how I feel. If I do have to cancel that one because of everything that's happening at the moment, I will, obviously everybody will get refunded. I had to cancel a few events last week. I feel like I'm putting on a sick voice, but I'm genuinely not. This is just how I sound at the moment. I'm just I'm not the pinnacle of health, unfortunately, but I'm sure everything will be fine. I'll get better. But that's it. Thank you for joining us. Be safe, stay spooky. Good night, Mrs. Deathly.
Good night, Mrs. Deathly.
So I forgot to say that never mind.
Bye, guys.
Nightmarish. Good night.